Good evening, friends. This side Rahul Magan here is a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. Today, standing on 8th of June 2019, we're going to shoot a very holistic video about an exotic derivatives which is generally applied in the interbank market. So the derivative which I'm going to be discuss is generally not available in the public domain. Plus, these derivatives are not given to all corporates as well. The reason for that, most of the corporates across the globe and specifically in India do not have an appetite for that. And now when the entire world is talking about a circular which has been put up by RBI wherein, or a notice, they are talking it about a 10-year jail if you're going to have a cryptocurrency in place, then you're very well aware of the fact that such derivatives are very much impossible in Indian context. But nonetheless, the examples which we are quoting in this, the names which we are quoting in this video are only for the sake of example. They do not have any resemblance in place in practical aspect, just for the sake of example. So first of all, I have made a derivative instrument which is known as structured derivative step-up Seagull export side. Now what is Seagull? Now Seagull is an architecture which is generally being used by the corporates, those who disrespect natural hedging. Now what is natural hedging? Natural hedging means when you have the buy side, when you have the sell side, you net it off. Like Reliance Industries Limited, who is a perfect example as far as the disrespect of the natural hedging is concerned. And I think that is one of the reasons why they are having too much success in place, because they disregard the norms of foreign exchange which are useless. Now, assuming there is a company, who I would say export apparels outside India, and they earn $100, while the yarn they are importing outside India, so they import $80. So the net profit margin $20. So they are going to take a position of $20 in the market. This is known as a natural hedging. But what RIL do? RIL import the oil, basically the crude oil, they process it, whatever is known as, they refine it, and after refining they divide the crude into the multiple parts, CNG, LNG, gases, cracks and everything, which they sell to the different customers. So if they importing $100 and the net sales is of $120, they take a position of $220, which is 100 plus 120, total 220. Henceforth, we always take an example of Reliance because it's a wonderful company to give an example. They as a company understand how treasury should be working, and I always give 10 out of 10 as far as a RIL treasury management is concerned. Here they always deserve 10 out of 10. So here again I am taking up an example of a structured derivative step of Seagull. Now Seagull is of two types. One is importer and exporter. This is in books. Seagull is of two types. One is step up and non-step up. Step up Seagull is when the notionals of different legs are not same. Actually Seagull is more than that. So one type, like if I have some space left, let me write or let me elaborate a bit. Seagull is of two types. One is step up and non-step up. One is, in step up we divide into two parts. One is the normal structure and one is the structure devised. Similarly, non-step up we divide into two parts. One is the normal structure and one is structure divide. These four will further divided into two parts. Are they synthetic or they are not synthetic? Now synthetic means when the two legs have the same price. You can see the three legs here. Here I assumed a Seagull on the export side which is step up but non-synthetic. I repeat, Seagull is of two types. One is step up and non-step up. Step up will further divide into basically two parts. One is the standard architecture and one is the non-standard, which is a devised architecture. Similarly, non-step up divided into two parts: step up architecture, basically standard architecture, non-standard architecture. And these four divide further into two parts: synthetic and non-synthetic. Synthetic means when the two legs would have the same pricing, but here it is not the case because we are not assuming the two legs would have the same pricing. We are not pricing the synthetic. If we get time in this week, we'll surely price this for you for synthetic. So here I assume that the bank is my favorite, Goldman India, and corporate again my favorite, Reliance India. The period is 12 months. The most important thing to understand, the premium component is 0. It effectively meant that from a hardcore accounting angle, Reliance Industries Limited India will neither receive any premium nor they pay any premium. So the concept of amortization do not value for Reliance Industries Limited India. I repeat, they are neither receiving nor they are paying. Before entering into the mathematics, you can see that I am having a calculator in the hand. Before entering into the mathematics, we need to know that there are many intelligent people worldwide, and 80% of these intelligent people you only get in India, whereby they believe that option structures are always having premium component in place, henceforth they cannot be taken. But these 80% intelligent people should know that majority of the option structures do not have premium component in place and they priced it zero. The architecture, I am going to let you know in detail afterwards, is a zero cost, and this is priced on Bloomberg. So I have priced on the Bloomberg wherein it turns out to be the zero. I'm neither paying any premium, I am not receiving any premium, my P&L is zero. So this architecture looks like that. As we know that I already explained that the business model of Reliance is multiple. They are into e-commerce and into Geo. They are into the apparel business, they are into the Reliance Retail, they are into the petrochemical business. But the most important, or the revenue source, the continuous revenue source and the profitability source is coming from the petrochemical business. We know that in the petrochemical business they hold the largest refineries of the globe, amongst largest refineries of the globe, wherein the business model is that they import the oil from worldwide, their different customers, their vendors, which they process in technical parlance, they refine it, and once they refine it, they segregate into the various parts and sell different parts. So if they imported $100 worth of oil, and after segregation that turns out to be the $120, which is known as cracks. Generally cracks is known as refinery margin, which is less than $10, but still for a minute assume that it is approximately $10. So they bought it at $100, they sold it at $110, so total is $210. Now we go with the same premises in this illustration. What we do, we take a buy call. Now we know that call structures are import architectures, while put structures are export architectures. Or put structures are also known as the export side, call structures are also known as the import side. Now call means the import leg. Now import leg means that RIL having right to buy. RIL having right to buy from whom? From the bank. And who is the bank? Goldman India. Whereby Reliance said that 1.5 million US dollars, because this is we are pricing in USD INR. 1.5 million USD INR is a notional of the buy call. Before moving further, I would like to take a hold here. The so-called CFA, I know it is Chartered Financial Analyst, but I tell this as Certified Financial Analyst always. You dislike the button on the YouTube channel, that is your problem. GARP, FRM, CA Institute, ICAI, Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, SMU, Singapore Management University, NTU, Nanyang Technical University, and multiple, they always stress on the fact that these structures can only be available provided the notionality. This is known as notionality. The notionality remains same. Effectively, the call notionality is same as the put notionality, and it is same as the sell call notionality. No, that is absolutely incorrect. The notionality can be same, it cannot be same. And when it cannot be same, in our parlance, in the foreign exchange parlance, it creates an architecture which is known as step-up architecture. There are traders in the market like Goldman, Chase and all, those who are using little different convention, they are referring this as a step up, they are referring this as a step down, but they more or less in agreement with my parlance that it is either step up or step down. So basically Goldman and Chase are having their own notionality. So GS is saying that if the notional is increasing in all the three, then this is step up. If it is decreasing, then this is step down. So I call this as a step up. That is. So all the so-called degrees, certified financial analyst, Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, FRM, GARP, they only tell you that the notionality is same, and 99% of the cases, these degrees do not tell you that such architectures are in place. Forget the notionality. Notionality they will talk you once these architectures are in place. They do not even talking about these architectures, but still, you please do CFA, because you would be an investment banker if you do the CFA. If you don't do the CFA, you never be an investment banker. Take my words. So here we go. We have the buy call, which is import leg, which means that Reliance having right to buy from GS. Buy put, which is known as export leg, I have right R. R doesn't mean Rahul. R means right. Reliance having right to sell to GS. Now from where this money is coming? Now this money, from where the exposure is coming? This is the oil import exposure. The import which they are doing. Because Reliance is not producing any oil. Reliance is importing from worldwide. Reliance is not a producer. From here, the exposure is coming. Here the exposure is coming, the sell of the import. The sell of the import or the export, or which in our parlance is known as crack. And once you started this respect, the most stupidity assumptions in the foreign exchange that the import has to be squared with export, which is known as the natural hedging, you end up being a wonderful treasury which is known as Reliance Industries Limited. And the kind of success you will get, that is the reason Reliance is getting so much success, because they know how to run a treasury function, which most of the people, most of the top corporates, and unfortunately, sorry to say, the IT companies themselves do not know that how to run that. And that is one of the reasons that IT companies not been able to reach the success where Reliance actually right now is, to be honest. Now, let us start now. Now this is sell call, which is also an export leg, but this is an obligation. Why obligation? Because who holds the right? GS. I wrote. Reliance is obliged to sell to GS. I repeat. Buy call, which is an import. Reliance having right to buy. Buy put, which is an export, but a right. Reliance having right to sell. Sell call, which is again an export, but an obligation, whereby Reliance obliged to sell to GS. Effectively, here who holds the right? Reliance. Here who holds the right? Reliance. Here who holds the right? GS. Now, effectively, if the Tokyo cut will cross 76, I repeat, if the Tokyo cut will cross 76, Reliance would end up as a loss. By the time Tokyo cut is not crossing 76, Reliance would always be in a gain. Before moving further, although we deliberately told number of times, specifically video, that options and forward settlement are just like Shah Rukh Khan and Will Smith. Will Smith is a leading actor in Hollywood. Shah Rukh Khan is a leading actor in Bollywood. Both are independent personalities. Alternatively, Singapore and Malaysia. Singapore is an independent country, their independent government, their independent way of running. Malaysia is an independent country, independent government, and their independent way of running. We are not here discussing who is successful or who is not, but both are independent governments. Just like Shah Rukh Khan and Will Smith, both are the independent people, but that's a different thing. They both are into more or less the same industry, which is the entertainment industry. Similarly, we need to understand very carefully, that there are 4 cuts which we have. One is known as the Sydney cut. Now currently it is approximately 10 p.m. Singapore. Now 10 p.m. Singapore amounts to approximately 1 a.m. Sydney, plus minus 15-20 minutes. So after 1 hour, so that's a different thing. Tomorrow is Sunday, but assume tomorrow is a working day. After approximately 1 hour, when we have 11 p.m. Singapore, the Sydney cut will come, which is 11, 1 minute. It is 10 p.m. Singapore. 10 p.m. Singapore means 1 a.m. Sydney. No. When we have 7:30 a.m. Sydney, which means after 6.5 hours, which means when we have 4:30 Singapore. when we have 4:30 a.m. in the morning Singapore, the Sydney cut will come. So the local time for Sydney is 7:30 a.m. Sydney. Then comes the Tokyo cut, which in Indian parlance is 11:30 or to 11:45 a.m. IST. Different countries like Singapore would have like 2 p.m., Hong Kong 2 p.m., Philippines 2 p.m., Thailand is approximately 1 p.m. and Dubai is also 1, so these cut time. Then we have Luxembourg cut, which is 4:30 p.m. IST. You need to check the local Luxembourg and Frankfurt time in Europe. Then the final cut will come is the New York cut, which is 10 a.m. New York. Here again you have two different timing, East Coast and West Coast. Since we are talking about USD INR, we are talking about Tokyo cut. And we are here talking about deliverable structure. It has nothing to do with the non-deliverable. Remember this very carefully. Now let's assume a Tokyo cut. Since the period is 12 months, so assume the 12 months bypassed, 12 months done. Now we're standing at the maturity. Let's talk Tokyo cut. Say, I will take 4 Tokyo cuts in the interest of the time. Now let us take 68 first. Okay, 4 different. Let's have the calculator in place. We use calculator. And if you want to be good in foreign exchange, use scientific calculator. I am not a brand endorsement of scientific calculator, but if you want to be good in foreign exchange, if you use scientific calculator, success is guaranteed. That's for sure. Okay, let's start. If Tokyo cut is 68, would Reliance be buying from GS at 80 rupees? Definitely not. In our parlance, it is known as worthless. We never say no, we say worthless. Well, while Reliance would sell at 68.80 to GS, if they have the right to sell at 68.80 to GS while the Tokyo cut is 68, absolutely yes. Here they make 80 paisa into the notional is 5 lakh. Remember, the notionality is different. Plus 4 lakhs. Would GS be buying from Reliance at 76 when they could buy at 68 from the market? Definitely not. Not at all. At the end, Reliance would have a gain of 4 lakh. Let's have one more Tokyo cut. 72. Would Reliance be buying from GS at 80 if the market is at 72? Worthless. Would Reliance be selling at 68.80 if the market is at 72? Worthless. Would GS be buying? Would GS be buying from Reliance at 76.70? GS be buying from Reliance from 76.70 if the market is at 72? Worthless. At the end, nothing. Everything on the market, wonderful structure to create. Let's have 74. Okay. Would GS be buying, RIL be Reliance be buying from GS at 80 if the market is at 74? Definitely not. Would they be selling to GS at 68.80 if the market is at 74? No. Would GS be buying at 76.60 if the market is at 74? One more. 78. Would GS be doing? Would RL be buying from GS at 80? Worthless. Would RL be selling? Worthless. Would GS be buying from RIL? Again worthless. Let's take 2 more. My mistake. The mistake is that Reliance, GS would be buying from Reliance at 76.60 when the market is at 76. And here there is a loss of roughly minus 1.4 to Reliance, which is minus 1.4 into 10 raised to the power 6, which is minus 1.4 million. Million is million in rupees, not in INR. So remember this. This is in INR, not in rupees. Okay. Now let's take it as 82. Would Reliance be buying? Definitely. Would they be selling? No. We'll discuss something after a few minutes. Would GS be buying? Of course. It would be minus 5.4. Net would be minus 3.4 million. Apparently speaking, when the rupee will go above 76 after 1 year, whose probability is very limited. Because we know that the highest rupee went is 73, closer to 74, and after that there is a great havoc which has created in the market, and RBI to step in. Although RBI, you know that how much competitive RBI is in INR, we know that, but not discussing this again. We also need to understand that how the gain and loss would be booked in that scenario. Now this, wherever I created worthless, that doesn't mean that there is no gain and loss that would be booked in the P&L. That is absolutely wrong. Now here the gain and loss would be booked wherever I wrote worthless, which is notional. Notional and notional. Where I have the gain, I have booked it real. Now here it is all notional. Here it is all notional. We need to see that how the ERP is actually architecture. The ERP architecture does permit you to create the notional gain loss and also the real gain loss. Now most of the people do not know it about, and henceforth they do not put the notional gain loss in their books. The first thing. Alternatively, such architecture will help the big companies like RIL, ExxonMobil and all the good corporates where the treasury works in the interest of the company, and the company also want treasury to work in the interest of the company to enter into the market and to do everything what they wish to do. And so to wind up this discussion, Seagull is a good structure, no doubt about that, but the entire globe is several levels higher than Seagull, and they have fresh versions of Seagull which is known as step-up Seagull synthetic and step-up Seagull non-synthetic. And here we covered step-up Seagull non-synthetic. If you get time, we surely be doing the pricing for you, step-up Seagull synthetic in nature. With this, Treasury Consulting would like to thank you very much. You know my mobile number 919899242978. You know our fixed income platform www.fixedincome.global. Before closing this video, I have few announcements for you. Number one, all the banks in Singapore plus not in Singapore, excluding Indian banks. They are not our competitors because they themselves do not know what they are doing. Actually, they learn or heard one thing carefully, is that our exotic derivatives desk is coming live in the market. In FX parlance, this is known as bespokes, and these bespokes are currently being done by the banks. I don't want to quote any name in the public domain. You know the names. You people are charging several $1 million for these bespoke derivatives, which is nothing. You create a presentation, create a fancy architecture, cut and paste the Reuters and Bloomberg screenshots and charge several thousand and several $1 million based upon the exposure the person is having. But Treasury Consulting is coming up with that bespoke derivative desk. And in the next several weeks, multiple exotic derivatives will be available live for pricing on our YouTube channel. Just as a sample. Just as a sample. Not the holistic list would be available in the public domain as a sample. So, plus, The third phase of our fixed income platform www.fixedincome.global already started. And with this, we are launching 7 desks. Commodities, DCM, defense, peer-to-peer, Islamic banking, VC accelerator, RegTech accelerator, and one more enhancement in the trainings. And now, once it would wind up after roughly 1.5 years, the difference between a Singaporean bank and a treasury consulting would be this, which is currently this. I would like to thank you all the banks, those who in the last several years spent extensively on marketing and less extensively or zero extensively on the functional understanding. And because of you people, today Treasury Consulting is heading as a bank. You know my mobile number 919899242978. In case you have any requirement for a trainings program, let us know. Have a good time and happy 10 years jail if you own a cryptocurrency. Have a good time.